And welcome back to the ABCs of ERP and beyond. And today is a special quick recording because we are here at Acumatica Summit
Yes, we are.
2026 in Seattle, Washington. Nirav,
Yes,
what an amazing venue, huh?
it is solid. Like, you talk about conferences and you talk about like just getting like-minded people together. Acumatica does it bar none. This is an unbelievable venue, unbelievable summit. I thought there was a lot going on here. Seattle is a great location, and we're here. I think this is our first ever at the summit doing an episode here. Really nice.
Yeah, it's amazing. You think back 12 months when they decided to announce that, obviously, Las Vegas, they've been there for 5 years, the contract's up, where they're going to go.
Yeah.
And then suddenly they announced the Pacific Northwest in January. There's a bit of a trepidation. People thinking, how's this going to go?
Yeah.
They've smashed it out of the bars. The venue's incredible, right?
Considering even some storms that we had in the Northeast, but turnout's been great. The venue, I think, is like just amazing. And, we couldn't ask for a better place to host a summit here this year.
So talking about the summit then, so far we've seen so much stuff.
Seen a lot.
So much to digest. We'll have an episode coming out on that.
Yes, we will.
But what are you excited about? What stood out for you over the last couple of days?
I think the theme this year was definitely clear that Acumatica is moving in the direction of technology. They understand that businesses need data, but they need data that's going to help them in their business, not just tomorrow, but for 5 years and 10 years down the road. AI is a huge topic of discussion this week. And some of the new programming and functionality that they're coming out with, I'm very excited for. They're talking about how it's going to go ahead and help you put together graphs and charts. You could talk through it. You could go ahead and actually start the AI experience all the way from a customer using the customer portal down to the end user in the office, being able to manage that conversation and send back sentiments and look at activities of happening with that customer. I think it's huge. I think it shows a strong product roadmap, and I think Acumatica is definitely ahead of the game here because they're putting focus not just on onesie twosie features. These are platform shifts that's going to be making every Acumatica user out there way more productive. I think.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, every company is trying to put AI everywhere. But I think the places where we're starting to see it in Acumatica makes sense. And I think really you're seeing that because of the pillars. Look at their commitment to how they develop their products.
Absolutely.
AI first. That's one of the 5 pillars. They're taking it seriously. And I think their approach to it is probably one of the best I've seen. The fact that you can have a connection to an LLM of your choice, whether that's Azure, whether that's Claude, whether that's ChatGPT. It's really nice that they've thought about this strategically for the long term, not the AI rush that we're seeing in other companies.
They like you said, they didn't rush into it, right? We see Microsoft has their Copilot in Business Central, which is lacking in many different ways that we know. And Acumatica just didn't rush to the market. They took their time. They said what's out there. How could they leverage that technology that makes the most sense for the users? And I think they also got really solid feedback just from the user community on how we should be using and integrating with AI at the end of the day. I think it's great. And on top of that, which is really nice, is the marketplace. So all the ISVs and third-party vendors that have embedded solutions or external solutions, they're leveraging AI to meet kind of capabilities of the future. I mean, it's pretty phenomenal where the technology is going, and coming to a summit like this just cements the fact that if you're an end user, if you're a company that has a lot of manual processes and you're just drowning in paperwork and it's hard to get real-time data, it's going to be easier when you get onto modern platforms like Acumatica. They are closing the gaps, removing all the blind spots in your business, and let the technology do the work for you. It's not where ERPs were just data, databases that just held data at the end of the day. It's that data working for you. That data is living. It's breathing. And it comes to life as you start using the software. I think it's pretty phenomenal.
Yeah. And you look at how that kind of fits with their approach and the methodology, really, of how they develop the whole platform. I mean, we've heard on their last 2 keynotes, the whole idea that Acumatica should be seen and is being seen as a digital replica of your business.
Yeah.
That by all of the C-level every time they present. And I really think that that's their strength because of that feedback with customers, with how they're allowing this kind of technology to be leveraged by, ISVs in the marketplace.
Yeah.
I think really that's where we want to aim to. We've said before, haven't we, that, a whole ERP migration, all it does is digitize your processes.
It does, yeah.
And we see Acumatica talking the same language, so it's saying how it's a replica, digital replica of your business.
Exactly. Data intelligence, and how you leverage that. And outside of like just the AI piece, and then we all know how important that is, you have to get on the AI train. I mean, you can't be left, using disparate systems and, trying to use Excel spreadsheets and you just can't do that anymore. These solutions are intelligent to help you grow from maybe 3 employees to 50 employees, from 3 million to 50 million. Plenty of examples of that throughout the week. I mean, just, the customer of the year, just other examples that they put out to how Acumatica really strategically helped that business become very, very profitable, whereas another solution probably couldn't do that if you were using manual systems at the end of the day.
Yeah, and every business wants to see that, right? They want to see that growth after an ERP.
Yeah.
It's going to be one of the most expensive, scarce transitions a company can go through, whether you're migrating from an ERP you've already got or whether you're stepping onto your first one. That's a huge undertaking.
Yeah.
And you kind of want to be able to see, right, where's the return on investment?
Yeah.
Because it's not always about reducing overhead, reducing costs. It's about growth.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you've got to have revenue coming through the door.
Yeah.
So really seeing the ERP as the growth enabler, not just the cost reduction, is huge.
And outside of what we just talked about, which was the overall theme, overarching, I had a chance to just sit in different sessions and hear users speak about their real world experiences. There was a specific session I was in about operational excellence, right? How do you achieve that in an ERP implementation when you're going from disparate systems where the data is not the greatest, right? You try to do data governance, you try to clean data, old habits die hard, right? So even when they get into a new system, people are still used to not really putting in accurate information in the system. And one specific user brought up this amazing idea. What they leveraged was GIs. So they had probably 4 or 5 people that were just, had a habit of putting in bad data because that's just what they did in the old system. But then this user implemented GIs that basically created scorecards and showed bad data to everybody in the company on what users were doing. So real quickly, those users straightened out and started putting clean data. Because once you get clean data, we know that. We talk about this in our podcast, Peter. Clean data is really the foundation of good AI at the end of the day, right? Otherwise, you're going to get hallucinations. I hallucinate, most of the times, but I'm just saying outside of that, but AI hallucinates if you have bad data.
Yeah. And I think this is where I'm really impressed with what's already in the system. It's been in the system for years. You think about GIs, you think about anomaly detection that we've had for a while now. And if you start to connect these dots, you've got GIs feeding anomaly detection, kicking off business events,
right?
Where you can start to say, well, instead of just kicking off business events to automate a normal business process, let's have it kind of alert to governance point of view and a data condition point of view. It's really going to help when you do finally make that jump and start to introduce some of the AI features as well.
It's so critical. And for anyone that's listening, that's on the fence, just, kind of where is AI going? What are ERP systems doing? Do I need an ERP, right? I say, think of it this way. These publishers, especially like Acumatica, they are investing a ton of money to make sure that customers' day-to-day life is easier, and it's easy to say, it's hard to visualize when you're not in that position. But, I'm telling you that the theme was looking at all the users here at the summit this last couple of days. Everyone that's implemented Acumatica is so excited about the direction that AI is going in, and using all the base tools that's already in Acumatica and leveraging that for AI. I think it's a step in totally in the right direction.
I think we should also do a shout out. We could speak about AI all day long, but a couple of other things that stood out to me. Insight XL. That was interesting. I think it got a little bit of a mixed reaction. I think when they said Insight XL, live connection to your data in Excel, everyone thought, ooh, Elixir. What's happening here?
What's happening here? Yeah. It raised some eyebrows, that's for sure.
Yeah. I wonder why they've decided to do that.
Yeah. I think, Acumatica does a study of their user base. Like any publisher should. I think it's their due diligence. They have a duty, fiduciary duty, I feel like, to the users. They could look at usage. They could see what users like to do. They get the feedback. And if it's something that they could roll out without customers having to spend extra money, right? I think it's a publisher's job to, if they can, try to bring it into the system. This is one of those examples that they're able to pretty quickly because they already have the kind of export in Excel. If you think about it, right?
Yeah.
It just made logical sense. Now, are they going to maybe roll it out as deep as Velixo has it right now? Maybe not. It's just coming out in this release, right? 26R1.
Yeah.
I think it may just be limited, but I do see it long term that it's just going to get better.
I think so. Yeah, it depends. I mean, that's one of Velixo's strengths is that write back functionality.
That's right.
I'd be very surprised if Insight Excel has that straight out of the box.
Yeah, that would be tricky for Acumatica to.
Yeah, but what I do love is the fact that you can leverage existing reports and existing GIs.
Yeah.
So where you've got that Excel icon, now you've got export to Excel, export to PDF, export to Excel connected, I think it said.
That's right. Yeah. Connected.
Which is great because then it pulls almost like the template of the report directly into Excel. So you haven't got to kind of start from scratch like maybe with Velixo you do, as much as Velixo have standard templates using those reports, and you know the layout of your P&L or your balance sheet.
Right.
Having that instantly replicated in Excel is one thing, but having it connected live,
that is huge.
Another thing.
That's huge.
Yeah,
huge. Microsoft kind of has something a little bit similar in the Business Central space, but this was really like above that in what they have. Right. You can see the formula. So that was a great point. I really like that. Other improvements in the product that we saw this week is we saw some stuff on the WMS side that they're doing now. Granted, I'm not biggest fan of Acumatica's WMS, but they're making an effort. They haven't stopped adding additional functionality to it. I think it falls short for a lot of maybe advanced warehouses out there, but it was nice to see that they were doing something, being able to change locations right there on the handheld, right? That hasn't been there for a while. Being able to do partial picks. That hasn't been able to be able to do that. So that was interesting to see that they're doing some of that.
The other standout one for me, I'm thinking back to last year when they had a workshop and they were looking for feedback of it was pie in the sky at the time, hypothetical shop floor kiosk.
Yeah.
So being able to have some kind of iPad setup where line workers can come in, sign in, pick a job, what's next to run, and start doing it there and then.
Yeah.
What did we see today?
Pretty cool.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I like that. I like the whole visual of it too. It had the circle there. It told you how many pieces you completed outside the total number of production orders quantity that was out there. I thought that was really nice. That was a good touch. I think that was I think a need for sure. And they brought that to market. I'm pretty happy.
Yeah.
With that.
It's quite funny because I was in the workshop last year and some of the things that we saw from the visuals, we discussed that and we said, do this instead because we said about the fact that these workers could have gloves on. They could, not be in a position where they need the intricacies of, a normal screen. So it's nice to see chunky, easy to view. Nice standout visuals. That's exactly what you want, right?
Peter, I think the user should thank you for that new functionality coming out. Peter says something, it happens in the Acumatica space.
Look, we got so much to digest.
Yeah, it was a lot. And just the energy, you could feel the vibration. The ecosystem is big. It's getting bigger every year. The summits are getting huger. But the cool thing is it's still having access to, some of the main executives, right? The product managers. They haven't lost sight of that, right? Everyone is always around talking to users. Even though it's getting bigger, which is great, the ecosystem is amazing. And you see everyone with a smile on their face, which is, to me, being at other conferences, right? Maybe not so much all the time, but here it's one big family, I feel like, right? Everyone is in Acumatica and they feel that and they see how Acumatica is helping them day to day.
Yeah. I was in a session today around CRM. And it's interesting how many times the product manager said, yes, we've taken this from the community. Yes, we saw you guys were asking for this. We're still working on it. And any kind of thing where there was immediate feedback on something, they were saying, let's talk afterwards. No, because they really want to be able to speak to these end users. It's really good to see, it's almost like that kind of, let's not lock ourselves away and trying to invent what we think people need. It's like, no, tell us, guys.
And they'll build it. And they've never been shy about that.
Yeah.
Right. And which is awesome. They put a lot of investments on the Shopify side, warehousing that I was in, operational excellence, just listen people, AI, obviously. I mean, the list goes on and on. I mean, there's always so much that they do at Summit. I always feel like there's not enough time. But we take what we got, and we do know that, even there's 2 major releases that Acumatica does. Every release is substantial. It's not just what they're showing for 26R1, 26R2. There's definitely going to be a good number of features that are going to be usable day to day right away. And then we're back to Summit again, and we're going to see a whole new slew of function. And there are some changes in the Acumatica executive team.
Yep. Yeah, we saw the big banner saying "Thank you, Ali."
Yeah,
is obviously now being replaced by John. I think. I think I saw it on LinkedIn last week. But it's
official.
Nice to have that.
And that was nice.
Again, it's great to have someone that's obviously very enthusiastic about the product.
He was super enthusiastic about the product. And then Sankit came out officially in his president role. That was pretty cool. The Acumatica is growing, which is what you want to see from your publisher at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think I'm always impressed with the stats they put up, how many transactions have done, how much revenue has been built through the system. It's impressive growth.
I mean, they've surpassed, I think, 10,000 customers worldwide. I think they have over 500 partners worldwide now. I mean, that just shows when you get more partners onboarded that they trust Acumatica and they trust the solution that they're selling.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
Incredible job with the venue. We'll throw up a picture so you can see it. Yeah. They've replicated that kind of Pacific Northwest theme, which is amazing.
It is amazing.
How do you top the win?
Yeah, I was thinking that, but they topped it. They topped. Going back to the win, I saved a little money this time in my wallet, which is good.
Very true. Well, thank you. I hope you enjoyed this update from here at Acumatica Summit 2026. We will be shortly recording the proper debrief.
Absolutely.
Until then, enjoy, and we will catch you on the next proper
episode. Ciao.